Hey everybody, it's Damon with InCap Store and InCapalooza, and welcome to the Pad Life Podcast. Today we'll be speaking with Erik Olson of Safe and Soft Carpet Cleaning based in Boise, Idaho. Erik has built a very busy four-van operation that focuses not only on carpet cleaning, but tile and grout cleaning, air duct cleaning, dryer vent cleaning, carpet stretching and repair, and more. We'll be talking about his change from franchise owner to owner-operator to multi-vehicle operator, how he's profited heavily in niche services like stretching and repair, and a whole lot more. So let's get into it right now. Erik Olson, thanks for joining us on the Pad Life Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk with us today.
Good to be here, Damon.
Thanks. All right, let's get into it. Now, most people enter the carpet cleaning industry either as a tech or, frankly, they buy the equipment and jump into it, which I think is kind of unique in the home service industry. That there's sort of that low barrier to entry. What is your story? How did you get into the carpet cleaning business?
I got in the carpet cleaning business right after college. So I went to college for a degree in communications, which basically means I didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of liked marketing a little bit and radio, public relations, but not really public relations. I focused on broadcasting, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get into politics with that. But ultimately, I needed a job out of college. I grew up in Southern California, didn't want to go back to Southern California. I went to college in Idaho. And so I had a man that I knew in college. He was one of my church leaders. And he offered me a job. He said, come work for me. And he owned a carpet cleaning franchise. And so I didn't know anything about carpet cleaning really, except I did a janitorial job in college, to help pay for college. And we used I think it was an RX-20 and a portable to clean the commercial carpets in one of the buildings that I was assigned to. And so I had, I guess, some carpet cleaning experience, but this particular carpet cleaning franchise was all low moisture, 175 bonnets, not encapsulation, but low moisture. And so anyway, he took me on. I had little experience, which is ideal when you're hiring somebody. You don't want them to have too much carpet cleaning experience because sometimes they can have bad habits from that. And I started working for him. And at the same time, I think I started with a radio job in a neighboring city. And over time, over the next 2 years, I decided that carpet cleaning was much more profitable than radio. And I enjoyed getting to know new people, and having new settings every day, and being trusted to come into their home and solve a problem. That instant gratification of, hey, I can get you results right here and right now. Getting paid, getting tips, getting good reviews. I was a technician for 2 years with that company. It was actually Heaven's Best, if anybody listening is familiar with that.
What year was this, by the way?
What's that?
What year was this, by the way?
This was 2014, I believe.
Okay.
I graduated 2014, summer 2014, early summer, spring-ish. And then I started cleaning carpets as a technician. Was a technician for 2 years. After 2 years, because I had graduated and had my degree, and all the other technicians were still going to college, working part-time. Something hadn't worked out with another guy he offered a management position to, and he offered it to me because I was the loyal employee technician. And he's like, all right, you've got the skills, you've got the know-how, I want you to do this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, great, let's do it. So he put me on salary at that point for a year. And then unfortunately, about a year later, November 2000, what year? 2000, 18. Yeah, it was 2018. He had he got colon cancer, and ended up passing away.
Oh,
And his son, I continued working for his son for another 6 months, but his son was not anything like his father, and I didn't enjoy working for him. But his son did offer me a franchise, my own franchise, or to take over an existing franchise in Boise, Idaho. It had been previously run um, by a corporate employee on salary for a couple years. Somebody else had it before that, but they kind of ran it into the ground. This guy that they had been paying for, I don't know, 3 years was bringing in less than what they were paying him. And so they shut him down, and it was shut down for 6 months. And then I came in and I basically started from scratch. There may have been 2 Google reviews, if that. And I had some names, some contacts of people. The phone was on, the SEO had been done. There was a website. So some of that was there, but otherwise, I bought a van. I bought a pre-existing van that was already wrapped, that the guy had been using, all the equipment in it. And basically I had a payment plan to the late CEO's son, who owned the Idaho territory. And we kind of did our contract was a lease to own of this area. And I was paying a franchise fee, a flat rate for the area, for the Boise area. And I could operate in the surrounding cities. And so I think I had $4,000 or $5,000 in savings. And I was making payments to the bank or my credit union for the van, and just kind of started from there, making payments and working with an SEO company and getting job after job and getting good reviews, and just slowly building over time. And that's a really long answer, like
that's
5
okay.
minutes or 6
That's
minutes
quite
for
all
how I
right.
got
That's quite
started.
all right. Is the
Started with the franchise, and then a
uh,
year and a half, 2 years later, and it continues. I have more. But wait, there's more. Because I stopped where I was like still with the franchise, right? A year and a half into 2 years, I said the franchise isn't what I was hoping it would be, or there's just too many rules. There's too many limitations. Like, I want to do things my way. I found better equipment. I found better chemistry. In-cap store.
Thank you, buddy.
little shameless plug there for. And Damon, you ended up taking better care of me than my franchise did, and so that's why I was like, look, I'm out. Because it was a lease to own, and I had sought out a franchise attorney. They're like, you never signed a franchise disclosure document. Or the attorney said you never signed a franchise disclosure document, so you can open up a claim with the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, and start a lawsuit on this, and I'm like, okay, because I had built a very reputable business in that a year and a half to 2 years. I think we had 250 reviews, 5-star reviews, and I didn't want to start over from scratch. And so we went to them and said, hey, I want out. I want out of this non-compete. I want to keep doing this business. And so they said, okay, just turn in your equipment. That was in southeastern Idaho. So I drove 5 hours, dropped off some equipment. I had to obviously turn over all the Heaven's Best branding. Because I had built relationships in the industry with other people like Ryan Kettering with Prolific Prints, I had sought them out like a month or two before my franchise ended. And I said, you need to build me a brand. I want a brand. And he built Safe and Soft, he designed and did Safe and Soft for us. And that's how we started. That was end of September 28th, October 2019, 6 months before COVID. Yep. So where we switched from Heaven's Best to Safe and Soft. So that's how we kind of got started there. I was fortunate because I was given a really good deal on the franchise. It was a great deal. It's just over time I'm like, I didn't see the value, and I had a bigger vision for what I could do than what the franchise could do for me. And so I'm like, why am I giving you guys this money? It's not a good return on investment for me. And luckily God gave me a back door that I could walk out of. Fortunately, very smoothly. It was a very smooth, seamless transition, and just switched over to Safe and Soft. I actually kept my website domain and then my reviews as well. We just treated it like a rebranding. So that
awesome.
was great. Yep.
A lot of small business owners, or soon to be small business owners, are nervous and reluctant and basically hesitant when starting their ventures. Now I knew you when you made the transition from franchise owner to independent owner operator, and you were pretty confident going into it, other than the review stuff which you mentioned earlier.
Oh no, I was terrified. Are you kidding?
Well, once you figured out, prior to getting the green light, you were, but once you got the green light, though, you had no hesitation.
Oh yeah, no, I knew what I was doing.
That's what I'm referring to. Yeah,
but I knew I didn't have to answer to anybody. Nobody was going to bear down on me. I didn't have a monkey on my back.
Yeah. So my question is, though, is when you actually purchased the franchise in 2016, I'm assuming, or 14, were you nervous at that time?
It was May 2017 that we started, and I was nervous only because I'm like, well, kind of. I had some confidence because I'm like, well, I've been doing this for 3 years. I know how to do the technical work. I know how to clean carpets with a 175 and bonnets and the heaven's best chemistry that they were giving me. So I had that. But as far as business, like, how do I market? How do I, I'm paying all of these expenses. I have this overhead. I have rent to pay. I have a brand new baby. So we moved to Boise a week after we had our first daughter. And new house. It was a rental house. New business, and new city that we had only been to like once or twice before. I mean, we visited to look at the house, and then before that, I think we had come to Boise to go to a friend's wedding. So we really didn't know anything about it, other than we felt inspired, divinely inspired that this is the direction that we should go, and that's why we were given such a great deal, and everything kind of started falling into place. But there's always that fear of the future. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen. How's this going to go? But I had such success being a technician and then a general manager that I'm like, you know what? I can handle this. Like, I can figure this out. And I did. And I mean, we're still figuring it out. You never really become an expert. You just get better. Well, you do become an expert, but it comes in levels, right? I'm still trying to level up my business even after 6 years. Almost.
I don't think the learning for any business owner, the learning it's a lifetime. It's a lifetime of learning. It's a lifetime of education.
Right.
But yes, you improve and you get better in certain aspects of it. But I think it's very tough to say that someone's an expert in anything. I agree.
I think I had more fear. I don't know. There's two different types of fear. We had a lot of fear when we became unhappy with the franchise and whether they would shut us down. And we're like, well, what do we do? All we know is carpet cleaning. So we thought about going into other services, like maybe carpet dyeing or whatever other services that weren't under the contract of our franchise, and or operating in other cities, neighboring cities that weren't the city limits of Boise, Idaho, which, we could do. There were a lot of things, but we just weren't sure, like, what do we do? We kind of had an idea. Sometimes you almost have more confidence when you're ignorant than you do when you have a bunch of knowledge and you're like, you overthink things, right? So the younger business owners that go out there that are confident and sometimes very cocky, they're like that because they don't know not to be, that's almost to their advantage, right? You don't have somebody telling you, you can't do this. You can't be successful. Sometimes you do, but then you're like, I'm not going to listen to you. Like, I know better than you. That's the cockiness that comes into play. And you go through that. Sometimes when you've been in business for so long, like veteran cleaners, right? We get stubborn, we get thick-headed. We're like, okay, well, I've always done it this way. I don't want to do it any other way. And we become less coachable. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to both of them. It's really when you do a self-evaluation of, am I open to new ideas? Am I willing to try new things? What do I have working against me? And is it really working that much against me? Or am I just am I psyching myself out? Right. I think there are much more possibilities than we like to give ourselves credit for, or even consider or think about. So for the new guys, you got the world at your fingertips. Now, I would say the market right now is changing. It's, carpet's doesn't seem to be what it hopes to be.
Yeah.
I love carpet. I would love to stick with carpet. However, you got to be adaptable as a business owner and learn to clean other surfaces so that there's a plan B. Look, if everybody rips out their carpet tomorrow and the carpet store stops selling carpet, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to get to that in a minute because that's actually going to be one of the follow-up questions here. But let me ask you very quickly. I talk to people that are getting into the industry on a regular basis, and they oftentimes look at franchises, whether it be Heaven's Best or Quick Dry or Oxy Dry.
Right. Those are low moisture options.
Right. Those are low moisture options. There aren't really a lot of smaller. Yeah. So we're talking about low capital is going to be generally on the low moisture side. I think there's PCS or something, professional cleaning systems. That might be one of the hot water extraction franchises. I think there's Color Chemist, I think is another one, something like that. Anyway, what are your thoughts on a startup going the franchise route versus owner operator?
I learned through my experience that the only value a franchise has is the systems and the reputation, the name recognition. If that franchise does not have the systems, the systems, the support, and the reputation or name recognition, okay, branding is another word for it. If they don't have those things, then it's not worth it. Heaven's Best, they can't do anything to me now, so I can say whatever the heck I want to about it. But they had a pretty brand, and it catered to a certain audience demographic. I'd say more Christian, affluent Christians, maybe affluent. But most people thought I was a owner operator. They had no idea I was a franchise. In fact, when I was ending my franchise or leaving the franchise, before we signed our agreement, we notified all of our clients and said, we're leaving. And they basically said I had no idea it was a franchise. I get more comments now about my company being a franchise. Are you a franchise? Than I did when I was a franchise. So that's it. The franchise or the name only has as much value as you put into it. And that's one of the reasons I left. I had built so much value into that name, that Heaven's Best name, that I'm like, I can do that with another name. What do I need them for? I can do that with another name. I have the systems, I have the knowledge, I have the image. I can do that with something else. So you can create it yourself. And if you create it yourself, then you have more control over it, right? You don't have somebody. I felt like as a franchisee, I was still working for somebody. Now, some people enjoy that because they're like, well, somebody already gave me a blueprint. They've got the systems. Okay, great. They'll give you the technical skills, but you know what? a carpet cleaning business, most owner operators or franchisees, depending on the franchisees, they're technicians. They're not business owners. If you're a business owner, then you learn to become a marketing company that just happens to clean carpets. Okay, that's what you should be doing, and that's what a valuable franchise should teach you. So Stanley Steamer, Zero Res, those guys are big dollar operating franchises because they teach their franchisees or provide their franchisees marketing. And so I always refer to them, they're marketing companies that happen to clean carpets. Whether or not they clean carpets well, I mean, in our industry, that's kind of, we joke about it. And we, as owner operators or private business owners outside of the franchise world, we feel like, well, they don't do as well as us. I would say most feel that way. But that's because they're more focused on marketing than they are about cleaning, which is not a bad thing. We can learn a lesson from that. So that depends on where your strengths are as a person. Is a franchise good for you? Is you have to evaluate whether it's a valuable franchise for you. Like, what's your initial investment? Am I paying a royalty or am I paying a flat rate? And what are they providing for it? Are they just providing a brand? Or just a logo with a name? And how does your local area where you're going to operate recognize that? Where I was, it didn't mean anything to anybody. It had been around for 20 years. It didn't mean anything to anybody. There were some loyal customers, but it didn't mean anything.
Really quick, I brought up a picture. You talked earlier about your brand and when you actually started up Safe and Soft, your existing customers asking if you're a franchise or new customers asking if you're a franchise. Ryan Kettering of Prolific Brand Design helped you with your latest logo with Safe and Soft. I have a picture over here with your 4 vans and your crew. I mean, he really did a fantastic job of creating a beautiful logo and, again, brand for your company.
Yes, he did. Yep.
So it's amazing. And it's actually behind you up there in that logo on your picture there, the Boise skyline.
Right.
So,
so the value again is the systems or the support. I've talked to other franchisees. I've had other Heaven's Best franchisees reach out to me, and or other franchises that people have been involved in, and they found that they invested in the franchise. They got taught the technical skills. How do I clean carpets, or how do I clean air ducts, or how do I do the thing, do the task, clean windows, whatever it is. They learn how to do it, and then once they go out, their franchise is not very supportive. Well, how do I do this? Figure it out on your own. Or they don't provide the marketing or the answers, and they're just like, you got to work that out yourself. And I'm like, what am I paying for? Am I paying for a domain authority through your franchise name? Well, maybe. That sometimes you get that, especially with a Zero Res or Stanley Steamer. Heaven's Best had some of that, but otherwise, I'm like, you can still build that yourself. Ultimately, for me, I felt like I needed the freedom to control how I ran my business. And if I needed to shift, if I wanted to do hot water extraction, or if I wanted to use an OP or a CRB or whatever, I didn't have to go through the bureaucracy or get somebody's permission to go and buy a piece of equipment or change chemistry or try something else. Now, once I found what I like, and I still don't experiment as much, but I pretty much found like this is the way I like to do things, and this is how I do things differently. Now I'm more comfortable, and I can systematize it and package it and teach it to my technicians, and we can go from there. So there's power in the system. Most franchises are very narrow-minded, which is understandable because you want to keep it simple. right? You overcomplicate things, like I overcomplicate things sometimes with my business. But when you keep it simple, it's easier to replicate, it's easier to scale. Franchises can do better at that, but you want to see whether or not the franchise is actually going to support you, if they're going to be there for you, because many times they're not.
The first question I asked that gentleman I spoke with the other day that was thinking about buying a franchise, it was one of the lesser known franchises. I said, well, have you heard of the franchise? Is it a name you're familiar with? There's a pause. And his answer was no.
Yeah.
And I said, well, then you have to say to yourself, do you expect other people to be familiar with this franchise? And if not, what is it that you're buying? And he gave an answer, which was actually reasonable. He said, well, they're going to give me systems because I don't have systems right now.
Depends on the system.
I agree. Yeah, but if you have
can
nothing,
learn systems from YouTube.
You can learn systems from YouTube, but a lot of people, they want a little bit of hand holding when they're making an investment in a business.
Right.
And
you can learn systems from Incapalooza.
I totally agree.
Right.
That's all very good. And I told him that. I think he's going to come to Incapalooza, by the way. So you are 100% correct about that. Nonetheless, I do see why there's that reluctance, going out as an owner operator, especially if you're just going to go ahead and start a business.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So that's something to.
But the problem is sometimes these guys get locked into it. And I know the guys that are just been doing it with the franchise for so long and they're just too afraid to leave.
Yeah.
They corner themselves. And I
agree.
I can pivot anywhere I need to with my company. I don't need somebody to hold my hand to do that.
I agree. Now,
I feel like most franchisees become that way after the first couple years. They become confident in their craft, like me. And I started as an owner who made all the financial decisions. I started looking, researching. Oh, there's that piece of equipment. I want to try that. I want to try that OP machine, or I want to try that Damon's chemistry. That looks like great, and it's much more cost effective. And so I did, and I'm like, well, then why am I paying? I have to buy, according to my franchise, I have to buy their equipment and their products, and they are like what's the word? They were way overpriced. What's the word? Just the markup.
Inflated?
The markup. Yeah, inflated. Yeah. I could get the same thing. I could look it up somewhere else, and I'm like, ooh, there's a big difference. Like, but according to the contract, I have to buy it from them. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. And I want other stuff. Like, you guys are 20, 30, 40 years in the past, and you're like, their attitude was hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It still works. And I'm like, but there's a better way. There's a more efficient way. There's a more cost-effective way. And as the owner, I'm looking out for me and my family, right? That's my priority, me and my family. So that's where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to find a way to exit. And I did. So, but I've met other guys with franchises that get much more support, and they grow and they scale and they sell. They have a sellable business. My business, where it's at right now, may not be as sellable as a franchise.
Yeah, we talked with Steve Pike about that in the first podcast,
right?
About building a business that's sellable, and that's actually something we talked about.
But I can still build a business that's sellable. I just have to follow the rules that the
you have a business now. You have a business now that's sellable because you keep accurate reporting of your business, of your customer base.
Right.
I mean, you do above and beyond what I think what a lot of other owner operators do in terms of logging your service entries. Your CRM and all that is very fine tuned, and that goes a long way if you ever decided to sell the business.
Right.
The name of the business is Safe and Soft Carpet Cleaning. However, you are cleaning tile and grout. You're cleaning LVT.
Yeah.
You're cleaning stone.
Yeah.
You're doing carpet repair and stretching. You've recently added air duct cleaning, dryer vent cleaning, they'll ask in a follow-up, you're considering additional services, but just those right there, you've become more of a home service provider than a carpet cleaner. And
Right.
given the market, which you mentioned a few minutes ago, I mean, there's less carpet in the marketplace. There's more LVT. There's more tile and grout. People
Right.
are conscious of IAQ, or indoor air quality. Dryer vents, that's a safety hazard. You're offering more. You're doing more. Are you just a carpet cleaner?
No. I mean, I'm not going out and doing the work nearly as much as I used to.
No, I mean the business.
But the business, I mean, look at the name. I've thought about that. I probably should reach out to Ryan and be like, can we do something about that? Call it like Safe and Soft Floor Care or Safe and Soft Home Services, because we can redefine what Safe and Soft means. Absolutely, like the soft, that's a little bit harder because that pertains more to upholstery and carpet and how people desire to have those clean and soft. The safe, that pertains to, safe practices, safe chemistry, whether people feel safe with the individuals that come to their home, because we do extended background checks, our badges, third party, and want to make sure people feel safe with the technicians, individuals that we send to their home. So we can certainly pivot that to other areas. I mean, people have talked to me about doing soft washing. Well, there's the soft, but in my area in Boise, is that needed? It's a very dry climate. We don't get a whole lot of mold. I mean, we can do soft washes on houses, but it's just whether or not there's revenue there. So there's a lot in commercial cleaning. There's a lot in other floor care in general, and that's where we're familiar with that and able to move into that if that's what the market demands. Duct cleaning, again, there's a lot more money that's available with that.
And an increased consumer demand as well.
Yeah, consumer demand as well. Yeah, absolutely. So I've seen others that have pivoted that because, again, they want to build and scale, and they have to be able to do that. But I've also, if I wanted to stay an owner operator, I may not have to worry about that. But as a growing business that will run with or without me, if I so choose, I have to be more adaptable with that. So that's why we've gone those directions. And again, it's a name. I know carpet cleaning, and I love carpet. I really do. I've mastered a lot of that, especially with our systems, where I can now go and instruct and teach other individuals how to do it with a low moisture way, and people will still debate me and go and run and get a truck mount instead of a low moisture way. And I'm like, hey, I have a truck mount. Like, I can do it both ways if I need to. Most of the time I don't. Most of the time my technicians prefer to do it a low moisture way. But we're versatile. I don't say this is the only way that you skin the cat. And I think they're appreciative of that I invest in them and their knowledge, and they know that, well, if this doesn't work, I can pivot to this if I need to. So that's where we're at right now with that.
Safe and Soft Home Services.
Safe and Soft Home Service. Yeah,
there
maybe,
you go. Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, carpet's still the dominant.
That change their name, that go from like carpet cleaning, or they add air duct cleaning, because that's what the SEO helps with, right? The name of your company helps with the overall marketing message. So it's debatable. I haven't made any kind of a decision on that yet.
Carpet's still the dominant flooring in the home,
Yeah.
by and large.
Still a lot of money.
It's not going away
right
entirely anytime soon, but there's definitely going to be a slow shift, a sea change. And carpet cleaners need to be prepared for that. And I would advise anybody I talk to that's starting a business to either name their business sort of broadly as floor cleaning, commercial and residential floor care, whatever their name is, commercial and residential
Yeah,
floor care.
I never,
Or
I hadn't learned that lesson yet when I
no,
named.
I get it. I'm just saying now in these days in
Yeah,
2024.
I get it.
Or home pros, such and such home
Sure.
pros.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so just so you have that
I did well enough
ability
that I
to
didn't name
shift.
it after me, Eric's Carpet Cleaning.
There you go. Call Erik.
That's my advice.
I
Don't
get it.
name it after you. Please don't do that.
Well,
There's a lot
actually,
of
I think that's no. You know what? I would
unless
disagree with that.
you're positive that you want to be an owner operator, but some
No,
guys
I mean, look at Stanley Steamer. I mean, do people expect Stanley to show up with a wand when
was
they
there ever a
order?
guy named Stanley though?
I don't know. That's the whole point, right?
There's
I mean, it's
Stanley
about a
Cups, too.
brand. It's a
Those are viral right now.
yeah, it's about a brand because when you go and get Mrs. Fields cookies at the mall or what have you, I mean, do you think she's back there in the food court making the cookies?
That's
Right? I
understandable.
mean, or Marie Callender's, is she making the chicken pot pie?
Yeah,
Chef Boyardee. I
yeah.
mean, they're
I
long
get
gone.
it. You
So
can go both ways, but I still feel like as an overall brand, like
if you have a strong logo behind it, if you have a story behind it, if you
yeah,
have,
if you have
I don't.
if you have a meaning behind it, right?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
the
it's
mechanic I go to that take my vehicles, Gary's Automotive. Gary doesn't own it anymore.
right.
Doesn't matter.
Do you expect? Yeah, exactly. You don't expect Gary to be back there, changing the oil.
Right. They built something, but at the same time, it's just like people wonder. I took the name and I took the valuable real estate, and I'm like, well, actually I took a lesson from Zero Res. Zero Res, they named it. They did all the market research and found out what was people's number one complaint about carpet cleaning. Well, residue, the crunchy residue that you leave behind. And so they're like, okay, well, this is the number one complaint. We'll take our name and we'll say zero residue, right? We want to make sure that there is no residue. Now, whether that's actually true, but they put it in their name, right? And so that helps that people assume, right? They even assume because of their marketing that they don't use any chemicals, which is ridiculous. But they're led to believe that, okay, well, this is what I'm going to get if I work with a company that's named after this, right? Same thing with Safe and Soft. Now, it can go either way. Just because your company's named that doesn't mean that's what you're going to provide. People do that all the time, right? There's a car dealership here that's named Fairly Reliable Bob's used car dealership. And honestly, it's a great car dealership, but I laugh every time I drive by and I read it. Fairly reliable. Fairly reliable. I guess I could name my company, if I started a new carpet cleaning business, I'd be like, better than before.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Right? Better than pretty good.
Yeah.
Fairly reliable.
Fairly
We're not 100% reliable, but we're fairly.
Well, that's what makes them unique, though,
that.
right? Because people appreciate the fact that they're being fun with the name. Because that's really what it's about.
That's true. There's that. But I also heard that the guy's name was Fairly, which I've never heard of before. So there you go.
It's got to be a play on the words, all right? Because obviously you're going to be conscious of that. But I think that's for we all know the reputation that used car dealers have, right? Especially the corner lots and stuff like that. So kind of like Ugly Duckling, what Ugly Duckling did with the used car business. They had that name, you had Ugly Duckling, that really spread and that caught on, at least in Southern California and the Southwest. That's huge. So I think that's very clever, though. I really do. Fairly reliable. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, people
better than before. Better than before carpet cleaning,
There's an old expression, right? Taking out the dynamite. And that's kind of what you're doing with a name like that. You're taking out the dynamite for people's preconceived notions of used cars.
Right.
So, or used car dealers.
Honestly, I would also argue too that sometimes it does not matter what the name is, what matters is the reputation that you build.
Yeah,
nobody
absolutely.
cares what your name is. They only care about how you make them feel.
Absolutely, 100%.
And once sometimes the name can get in the way. It has that potential. But other times you can move past that through your reputation, through your word of mouth, what people are saying about you, what your reviews say about you, what other people are saying about you. Like, they can blow right past that. Yep. So
Absolutely. What is your most what is your most popular service?
carpet cleaning has always been our bread and butter. Obviously, it's in our name. We just started air duct cleaning, so I can't say that is. Second to carpet, we've really focused on carpet stretching and repair because there's just huge demand for it. And we've pushed that because it's more lucrative for us. We can charge higher prices, and it takes higher skill for carpet stretching and carpet repair than carpet cleaning. So we do more stretching than repair. That's just easier to advertise. And the reason, like, I just saw demand. Like from the beginning, I learned how to stretch carpet differently, but the franchise I started with taught me how to stretch carpet. And I progressed from certain tools to other tools. And now I embrace a whole number of tools as my knowledge and expertise and circumstance dictates. I know that, okay, well, I can handle this with this job with this tool. Anyway, with stretching, we have focused a lot more on that. We do a lot of marketing with yard signs, and you put a yard sign out that says carpet stretching and the phone number, and people are like, I need that. And I didn't know who else to call because carpet installers are just not installing carpet correctly. Carpet's wrinkling in the first year to 3 years. No wonder people are buying less carpet. They're so fed up with, like, well, I just paid for this brand new house, or I paid to replace my carpet. In the first year to 3 years, the carpet's wrinkling, and they're ticked off because they're like, I paid this much money for this stuff. I'm just going to rip it all out and put it in a hard floor. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why carpet is shrinking, other than some people say it's gross or which it very much is. But that's our job to clean that up. People just don't clean their carpets often enough. But otherwise, like stretching tile, we don't do a whole lot of tile. We could. It's wherever you focus. I'm one of the only guys, if not the only guy, that really markets and or pushes carpet dyeing. But I don't make a whole lot of money from carpet dyeing because I don't get a whole lot of calls or demand for it. Despite what instructors say, like sometimes people see the value in it and sometimes they don't. Maybe I'm not talking to the right people, but I pay for SEO on my website. People don't know to search for it. Same thing with stretching. Sometimes stretching or repair, they don't know that they could even get that fixed, or they could get it stretched, or they could get it dyed. So how else am I supposed to put it in front of people's faces other than sending them mailers? Well, I'll send them mailers, do yard signs, go to shows and get out in front of people. TV, radio is not as as effective as I would love it to be, but it's just not. It's not cost effective. So that's the game, really, is learning to find what marketing works in your market and finding out what niche you desire to be in or fall into, because people just naturally gravitate towards that in your company. So that's it for us, really, as far as what we're offering.
What are you averaging hourly with carpet stretching and repair?
The goal is probably like 200 plus an hour.
Wow.
It's not always that. I mean, repair.
And that's a low overhead service as well, meaning you're not using chemicals, you're not running a truck mount.
It's labor. Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. That's great. That's great. What's the average job length? Like how long do you spend on the average stretch?
That's a great question. Some people, but that also depends, right? With carpet cleaning, sometimes people want 1-2 rooms, right? That falls under a minimum. But sometimes people want the whole house done. And then we get the same thing with stretching. Some people want 1 room stretched. Some people want 3, 4, 5, whole house stretched because it needs it. So we can go from a $200 minimum to 12, 16, 2,000, $3,000 ticket for stretching. So, we're charging $1 a square foot. So it all depends on the person and their needs, and what they want. And as far as the time it takes, that's a good question. I think that depends on the skill level. What I was doing, probably, maybe rooms vary in size, though, right? I mean, does it take me the same amount of time to stretch a 300 square foot room as it does a 150 square foot room? Sometimes it depends on how the room's laid out. But yeah, a lot of times it'll take almost the same amount of time. That can go from an hour, maybe half an hour to an hour for a room. Hallways are more complicated. There's a lot more variables with stretching. It really is. That's why not as many guys do it. And those who do it, it's a question of whether or not they do it well. Some guys will walk in with a carpet or a knee kicker, which is why the carpet wrinkled in the first place, and try to fix it. And I tell people, I'm like, look, I'm not the cheapest, and I'm not trying to be the cheapest. I'm trying to give you the highest value. I guarantee my work. We guarantee the stretch. We do non-guaranteed as well, depending on where they fall, or what they're willing to. If they're not willing to move the furniture out of the room, and we're like, okay, we're going to do a non-guaranteed stretch. And sometimes they're okay with that. A lot of times they're okay with that. But I'm like, you still have to move certain pieces of furniture, because if you don't, then we just can't achieve the stretch. We can't do it. So things, with those, I go out ahead of time. Honestly, I think that I think carpet cleaners should charge higher prices. And I think that they many times should go out and not quote prices over the phone, but go out and do estimates. And that's why you would have to charge higher prices in order to do that, in order to cover that cost. For me, going out and doing estimates before doing a stretch job, that's needed, because I'm like, I have to take notes, pictures. Okay, tell my technicians, this is the direction you're going to pull this room. You're going to cut here. You're going to use this tool here. You've got this piece of furniture that they say they just are not going to move. The bed is going to stay in the room, and this is how you have to stretch the room in order to get it. You have to work with this transition strip, and you've got to replace a tack strip here. And this is a concrete subfloor, or this is a wood subfloor. Those things I can't quote over the phone. I can't price it over the phone. I have to go out and I have to see it. When we started trying to price it over the phone, or give them an idea, or do a job without a stretching job without showing up and putting eyes on it first, ahead of time, it was too many problems. Too many problems. So that's why I have to go out ahead of time and say, all right, I know what I'm dealing with.
If somebody started a carpet repair and stretching business as a standalone business, and they did the right marketing, they could easily make $300 to $400
Absolutely.
a day.
I have guys here that do it. There are guys here that do that.
Making $300 to $400 a day.
Yeah. At least. Yeah, absolutely. I would like to make more than that. And we usually do. Our average ticket is higher than that. So even though there are guys that do nothing but that here, it doesn't matter. I do more than that, but I market. And so I'm getting business that they're not getting, because people don't know they exist. It doesn't matter what you do. If you don't market, they don't know you exist.
So on average, you're surpassing $2,000 to $3,000 a week in stretch and repair work.
Yeah, we could. Absolutely. Yeah.
And a carpet repair and stretch business to start, it's a minimal amount of equipment.
Well, even cleaning, right? Okay, so I'll.
But I just want to emphasize that really quick. Just the stretching and repair. The cost of the equipment is minimal. It becomes more of almost, once you learn the skill, which is a real skill. Not discounting that. then it becomes more of a marketing endeavor.
Yes, absolutely. So is carpet cleaning, um, or any home service that you.
Absolutely, but I guess I'm just drawing a formula between the upstart costs,
Right. I
learn
mean,
the
the guys that
craft,
I know that do
market.
nothing but that. I mean, are they investing as much into SEO and yard signs and um, mailers as I am? I don't think they are.
No, I'm sure you're 100% right. Um, I guess my point is, if they did though, they would have a booming business with
They could. They
very
could.
low costs,
They
very low
could.
overhead.
Yeah. But they're owner operators, and I think the owner operator mindset is they focus on the work. They're a technician that happens to own their own job. They don't own a business, they own a job. And I think that that's a problem. I mean, with people like that, they should read the E Myth. You're a technician that owns a job. Something happens to you, you're up a creek and you're in trouble. How are you going to make money if something happens to you? You know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um, but
Who were you going to give
that's
a shout out to earlier? You were going to give somebody a shout out. You're like a shout out to, I don't know if it was somebody in the repair world.
Oh yeah. Robert Atlas. I mean, a lot of people know him in the industry, and he has a similar system where he creates leads and whatnot for you. I looked into Robert's thing, and I thought it was great. However, I'm like, I have the experience, so I'm not necessarily need the training. And I'm friendly with Robert, and I have a huge amount of respect for the business he's built. His whole model is so I had the training, and then I felt like, well, I can invest my own money into my marketing, and I own it and keep it, and I have my own legacy. So I don't have to turn over the keys when I decide I don't want to do this anymore. Like, or I can keep the keys and give them to somebody else that I can pay and still get a check from for what they're doing. So I just wanted more control. Um, I think what he teaches, how he trains guys are doing phenomenal under Robert. I know a couple that and they say nothing but great things about Robert. They love working with Robert. So I took that and I just applied it to my own business. That you can build a stretching and repair business, and you can be in a blue ocean basically where people hardly market that, and you market those services, and then you upsell cleaning. All the furniture is going to be out of the room. All this stuff's going to be out of here. Why don't we just clean it while we're here? And they will. Okay, sure, yeah. What I do, and I don't necessarily encourage this. I may start leaning away from this as far as discounting, but I'm like, okay, well, if you have the carpet cleaning done at the same time as the stretching, then I'll give you 20% off the cleaning. And I don't discount my stretching at all, because I know the value in it, and I know that, like, this is hard work. We could rip up that carpet and something can go wrong, and so I need to be able to cover my costs with that. As far as labor or time, whatever. I found that a lot of times when you discount something, that's when stuff starts going wrong. At least with stretching and repair. So cleaning, sometimes a lot of that can happen with cleaning too. But when I'm doing both of them, I'm like, well, if I've got to discount something to get them to bite, make them an offer that, like, oh, sweeten the deal. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll get the cleaning done too.
Yeah, I think it's important to be able to add on services while you're on site. I mean, with
It's
the
easier to upsell cleaning than it is to upsell to do it reverse, right? There's
absolutely,
so many other
absolutely,
carpet cleaners. There's very little carpet stretchers and guys that repair. So if I market where there's less fish in the ocean and I can get work that way, then I can upsell other services because of the convenience. So
absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to bring up picture again of your fleet. your 4 vans and your 4 techs and yourself there. How long did it take you to get to van number 2, van number 3, van number 4?
Um, 2 years, 3 years. I only added the truck this last year. It's just over a year that we added the truck.
The truck is primarily for estimates and stretch work,
yeah,
utility.
It's my, basically. Yeah, I can get to places that I need to. I can cart equipment around. I've also built it that I can start putting equipment in there if I wanted to go and do the cleaning jobs. But ultimately, I'm like, I'm going to give them to my technicians. I don't want to be the one doing the work. I want my technicians doing the work. But if I needed to, I could. And I just wanted my own vehicle. I drove my company vans. I alternated between those 3 vans for 5 years, and I'm like, I want my own vehicle. I want my own truck, and I'm going to have all the bells and whistles that I want on it. And because I had built my business to where it was, we could afford to do that, and the company pays for it. So that's why I got it. I think it's a great branding tool as well. It looks different than a van, and when I show up to an estimate in a truck like that, people are impressed. It's part of the branding. It's part of the presentation. It's part of the value. And I love my truck. It's fun. I got tired of vans. Vans are boring. But I can't fit everything in that truck. The minute I got that truck, I had a 3rd kid, and I'm like, I can barely fit the 3 kids in the back and the crew cab of that, and I can hardly fit enough equipment. Like, I have to put specialized equipment in there, and only so much of it. And it's a mid-sized truck. It doesn't. I should have gotten a full size, but I still love my truck the way it is. It's great. So
Looks
to answer
great.
your question,
Great wrap.
2. It took about 2 years. Yeah, when I left the franchise, I had 3 vans. I didn't get them all wrapped at the same time because of the cost, and I wasn't running 3 vans at the same time. And right now, this last year we were running 2.5 vans. So that's where I'm like, I haven't maximized my capacity with what I have. And I think I'm fortunate that I bought those vehicles when I did. Because look at the cost of commercial vehicles now. It's ridiculous. In fact, my truck is probably what I'm paying for my truck is probably worth more than those 3 vans put together. So, but the vans are making me more money than the truck is. The truck is just my toy. And it makes me look good. So that's
that's awesome.
There's value in that, and it can work when it needs to work. So it's more of a marketing piece than anything else.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Staffing continues to be an issue in the service industry and the labor market in general. I think it's improved a little bit in the last maybe few months. How have you overcome that? Because you've had turnover like everybody else. It's something you're constantly
managing. You and I have talked about that a lot. I've had my troubles with technicians, and somehow in the last 2, 3, 4 months, things really just started falling into place. I have 4 technicians now, and they're fantastic. I have a great team, and my technicians even comment, "What a great team!" Like, they're really happy and excited. All of them like each other. They're all okay with working with each other. They all have a great work ethic. They're all great with customers, and they have a mentality to grow and work together. My biggest concern right now is just keeping them busy. Before I couldn't find enough guys, and now I got more guys. And I had one technician come to me today. And he's like, "Hey, my brother's looking for a job, and he's interested in working here." And I'm like, "Gosh, I wish I could, but things are slow right now. I just can't. So come to me when things are busier, and I don't want to discourage you from referring me because I've got my best technicians from referrals.
And just
So
so people out there watching that might not be in the industry or thinking about getting in the industry, typically late December until roughly March, even mid to late March, depending on where you are in the country, it's generally the slow season for
yeah, after
residential floor
everybody spent their
cleaning.
money, they don't want to spend it on cleaning carpets or floors or
Yeah, it's just
whatever.
weather conditions and
Yeah,
everything else, and
yeah.
it definitely impacts the industry
No,
for those 3 or
yeah.
4 months a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Warmer climates, it might be more consistent, but like it fluctuates, it changes. Like warmer climates, California, Arizona, it gets too hot. People don't want to clean in the middle of the summer because it's just way too hot. You're in the triple digits and people just don't want to open their doors. So, yeah. Culture, building a company culture, building a business where somebody wants to, in a place that you want to work or that other people want to work.
Yeah, they want to
Giving
feel appreciated, they want to be rewarded, they want to be recognized.
you invest in them and they will invest in you. If you
Yeah,
find the right people. So hire attitude, train skill. You don't hire skill and train attitude. It doesn't work that way. They have to have the attitude beforehand. And
pay is also a big part of it. I mean, I believe
yeah,
that culture matters. I believe that recognition matters. I believe treating people fairly is incredibly important.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, I believe money talks, and that's a big part of
Sure.
someone's life. I mean, they got to make enough money, right?
Sure.
And then the recognition, everything else falls into play.
Sure.
You've developed a formula that's incentive based. So your employees are making, your techs are making an hourly
They
plus
start hourly.
incentive, right? And then
Start
it moves into
hourly,
incentive.
and then as they receive certifications and experience, seniority,
Hmm.
uh, more certifications and attitude. Um, and I mean, I've got one now that's worked for me for 4 months, and he's on performance pay or commission, basically, where he's earning a commission for the jobs, a percentage of the invoice for the jobs he goes out and performs. Now, when he's back at the shop performing, like right now during a slow time, and he's performing work here at the shop, he's not generating revenue. So at that point, I uh, shifted to hourly pay, which he's okay with. I mean, that's getting paid for your time, but he's it's a percentage if he's out generating revenue. If he's not, then
Sure.
I have to pay him hourly.
Now, the ones that have been with you for a while, and I know at least one for several years now. I mean,
Yeah, almost 3 years.
from my understanding, he's making pretty good money, like in the
Yeah.
neighborhood of like $35 an hour, which would translate to
Yep.
$60,000 to $70,000 a year, and that's very good money for a technician.
Yep.
Very good money.
Yep.
So you should be proud of the fact that
You're probably making more than I do. Yep.
I hear that. I hear that.
I joke, but I'm also being serious.
Yeah, yeah. You have 4 technicians, correct?
4.
4.
Yep.
And then you have a virtual assistant that handles your
Yes.
scheduling and booking and answering the phones, etc.
Yep.
How's that working out?
Some days are better than others. I see value in both.
Well, let me ask you another way. You've had people that have worked in the office,
I have, yeah. It's
onshore,
all about finding
in
the
the
right person.
shop.
Yeah.
Right now, you're
Well,
using VAs offshore,
yeah. They're
and what?
both viable
Yeah,
options. We went with a VA because we were having a hard time finding somebody local that would perform the work that we needed performed in the way that we needed it performed. When we were having a hard time, we're just like, okay, we're gonna go where the fish are biting, where
what's
they're
been the
willing
biggest
to
benefit of the
work.
VA?
Um, I guess business owners here, money. We pay considerably less and get the same amount of work as we would for somebody here locally, and then their overall attitude is completely different. They want to work. They want to work. Um, And so, they have the freedom of going home and being at home and doing that. So that it's just overall attitude, and then building your business, the systems that we had to put in place to have a VA, like we had to make a shift, and that was hard. It's still hard sometimes. And I mean, it's not 100% where she's answering the phones. 100% she takes lunch, or we've extended our business hours later. So Monique my wife, part owner, she'll still answer phone calls during those times. Or, if she calls out sick or something like that, then it falls on Monique.
That would happen if you had someone in the office too.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but it is still a very viable option. Obviously the benefits of the pay and the systems, there's that. Yeah.
Getting back to your text for a moment, do you believe that the performance pay versus the hourly is a greater incentive for them?
It is. Yeah, I think so.
It's got to be, right?
Everybody that I have on the team right now, they want to work towards that. Now, do I say it's not perfect either? And I've heard it discussed both ways. What it should be is a hybrid. It should be a hybrid of the two, between an hourly and a performance pay, which we kind of are a hybrid, right? Because they're performance pay when they're out performing work, but if they're performing time at the shop, then it's hourly, right? But they have to be properly incentivized, because otherwise they're like, I mean, I have one guy that I'm out. I'm not out making money. I'm out. Like, I'm leaving. I'm going home. I'm not going to do the work that needs to be done here at the shop. Sometimes, but he's also changed his mindset on some of that. Most of the time that's a mindset. And
yeah,
look, you're getting paid, and you're getting paid than you would better paid than you would on hourly. This is part of your job description. You need to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it's in the job description and it's not, that's kind of a slippery slope. I mean, you could argue it both ways.
You could.
People don't want to work for free.
No, and
it's hard to leverage. No, I get that. I know you're not. So I don't know if you can come up with some sort of subsidy. So like when they're doing non-performance-based work or non-field work,
yeah,
perhaps they receive some sort of subsidy.
There's problems with any sole pay or wage. The way, there's problems with salary. There's problems with hourly. There's problems with commissions. None of them are perfect by themselves. But if it's a hybrid, then that's where people can be properly motivated to do what they need, what you as the boss want them to do.
Yeah, as long as it gives them the motivation to
bonuses
try harder.
And yep,
right,
yep,
yep.
Expectations, yep.
What advice, what quick tidbits would you give to those that are starting out in business?
Do your research. Go and, I mean, if you want to get into the cleaning industry, there's countless individuals that are willing to let you shadow them, and some for free, most for free. Everybody loves free labor. They may not pay you to come out and learn, but you're going out there and you're getting the experience and the knowledge and whatnot. And I would be careful and also in who you shadow, who you're talking to, who you choose as your mentor. I've been very fortunate that I don't have just one, right? I seek people out. I meet them at events, like in Kapalooza. You network with them, and you're like, okay, well, how do I resonate with this person? How do I resonate with this person? And I take little bits and pieces from everybody that I meet, and I try to apply it and make myself better. And people do the same with me. People meet with me and ask me all the questions. I'm sure they want to see what made me so successful. I just our businesses are ultimately a reflection of ourselves. They're a extension of ourselves. So the best thing that you can do is really learn to improve yourself. If your business is a hot mess, which mine is a lot of times, it's not perfect. People ask me and they look at me and they're like, "Oh man, Erik, you've got all your SHIT together, all your ducks in a row, everything looks so great and perfect." And I'm like, "Well, we are in the business of appearances, so I try to look as professional and good as possible. But there are deeper things there, and I think I have a lot going for me, and we're constantly working on improving things. Nothing's ever 100%. I'm good. I'm not God, as one of my instructors has taught me. So work on improving yourself, because you're only as good a leader as you are an individual or person yourself. So it all starts with you. And don't just work on the technical. The technical stuff is the easiest thing that you can learn. Easiest stuff to learn. The marketing, the leadership, the administration, the
money management.
Financial. Yeah. Those four things, those are the hardest. The technical stuff,
the Zero Res franchise owners, the Stanley Steamer franchise owners, they're worried about those four.
Yeah.
That's why we don't see them in the groups.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Their crew members may not be very good.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. They focus heavily on the four, and they neglect the fifth finger.
Right.
Whereas I think a lot of the owner operators do everything else. Like you said, or they only focus on the one, not the others.
The secret to my success is networking. Not only networking in my local community, but like in others in the industry, because there's better people than me out there, or people that have more experience than I do. I had a woman ask me today. She thought I had 25 years worth of experience. I'm like, no. I almost I'm close to 10. But I have gotten the training and the knowledge. I know people. I didn't necessarily answer it this way, but they have 40 plus years of experience, and I can reference them or reach out to them and contact them. I said, the training is really what's the most important. There comes a point where, yes, you should have X amount of years of experience. She's like, well, I chose you over, somebody that may have a year, 2 years, 3 years of experience because of the benefits there. But I'm like, well, we've been in business for almost 7 years. We started in 2017, but it's really the training and the networking that we've done, the reputation that we've built, and that's why people choose to do business with us, because we've focused on ourselves. When something goes wrong in our business, we don't try to blame somebody else. We ask the question, is it me? Did I do that? Did that person quit because of me? Did I do my best work when I cleaned somebody's couch or carpet or stretched their carpet or whatnot? Or was it, sometimes it is their floor. Sometimes we can't control that. I mean, we have somebody that we were dealing with this last week where we've been back twice to clean a natural fiber, white denim couch, right? So a lot of cotton, linen, and there's staining on it. And we told her both times we were there, like, this is permanent stained. We do not guarantee that this is going to come out. She wants a refund. And we're like, I said, look, I mean, Monique, my wife, is dealing with this, but I told Monique, I'm like, if somebody can go out there and remove these stains, look, we're good at removing stains, specialty stains or whatnot. We have techniques to do that, but some things are just permanent. They're just not going to come out.
Yeah, a spot versus a stain, right?
Right. if somebody else can come out and take out what we couldn't, then I'll refund her money. But otherwise, like, she paid us to clean. So I've gone as far as I could with a warranty or a guarantee. And I'm like, okay, if you feel like you can find somebody that can do a better job, pay them to do it. And if they can achieve that, then I will give you money back. I feel that that's generous, because I'm like, look, I've already paid for my labor twice to go out there. I don't think that it's fair that we set realistic expectations for you and you're still being unreasonable. So there's lots of things to learn, but learn to improve yourself, learn to communicate with people, learn leadership skills, self-improvement, but communication is key. And we get that comment all the time about our businesses. We love doing business with you guys because you clearly communicate with us, but that's not always perfect. I screw up on that all the time.
It's never perfect. We strive for improvement, but we're always going to struggle. Erik, thanks again for all the information you've shared so far. I do have one last question for you. What would be your 5 tips for an aspiring home service pro?
So 5 tips of a home service pro. Don't stick to one, primarily one service. I know that you look at my logo and it says Safe and Soft Carpet Cleaning. We may very well rebrand that into Safe and Soft Home Services. So become a little bit more well-rounded, offering other services like duct and dryer vent cleaning, LVP or hard surface cleaning, hardwood floors or tiling grouts, repair work. So a lot of work for repair work in tiling grouts, and in not only tile and grout, but also repair in carpet. So that's where we've shifted a little bit of our focus, is doing a lot more repair work in carpet. But any hard surface. I know that there are some individuals that have shifted from doing any carpet cleaning. They started off carpet cleaning and now they do epoxy floors. And that's something that, I would consider doing. That's one of my first jobs out of high school, actually, we did epoxy floors. I'm not sure if I want to go that route here, but it's a possibility.
That's a very popular flooring type right now.
It is, yeah.
People are doing well with it. Yeah.
Something to consider. I don't know if I'd brand it under Safe and Soft. I might do like a partner company and different name for something like that. Just because I primarily want to stick with services that are more brand conscientious, I guess, or brand in alignment with the brand. Sure. Otherwise, I would focus, just do a whole different brand or name for something else. I don't think I'd ever go this route, but that depends on you. Janitorial services. Nice thing about or janitorial or maid cleaning services for home. Anything that you can do that is more routine maintenance. I actually spoke with somebody very recently where they are doing their home services is routine maintenance around the house, almost like a watered down version of a handyman. They're changing out air filters on air filter on HVAC units, heating and air conditioning, and they're also cleaning up the coils and whatnot. They're not doing necessarily duct cleaning. They are doing dryer vent cleaning, but maintenance, changing out light bulbs, just things that take routine maintenance, and you can focus on an older demographic, and you can go regularly or quarterly, where you get that reoccurring revenue, as opposed to carpet cleaning that maybe if you're lucky, 6 months to a year, more than likely every 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years. Whereas that's just not as frequently as you'd like it to be. So do something that people see it more frequently. It's much harder to change people's mindsets or perspectives than to just go with a service that they're more willing to have done more frequently.
No, I mean that's it sounds like a clever idea. It's almost like a honeydew company, right? Like
Yeah, and
change
honestly,
the light bulbs, change the air filters.
yeah, just whatever kind of routine maintenance. I mean, I'll speak with him again tomorrow. He had some questions for me as far as branding goes and whether to go the franchise route. But like we spoke earlier in this program, what's the value of a franchise? The name, the reputation, and or the systems and training or support that comes along with it. If you're lacking in those, then there's really not a whole lot of value there. So five tips. Become more well-rounded. I'm sorry, did I have two? Okay.
Yeah, two so far. Let's say really quick though on number two, because that was a good point. The other side to that is the residual income, the regular income stream. Janitorial brings in monthly checks or whatever your schedule is, but that's consistent money, which is something really big. Some for maid service as well.
Yeah, something that I've always tried to figure out, and I don't know if anybody's really successfully done it, at least in the modern sense. But having like a subscription model, whether you can do that or not for carpet cleaning, I don't know. I haven't been able to figure it out yet, and I don't know anybody else that's been able to keep it long term. So whether or not you can go that route affordably, who knows?
You almost wonder if it would be, again, going back to being a home service pro, where you could really do something like that, right? Like schedule an annual spring cleaning, where you're coming in and you're doing the floors, you're doing the upholstery. If you do exterior work, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I mean, if you could structure it in a way, maybe you could do a flat rate for everything.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I just, that takes some thinking, getting your
you have to have your services aligned. Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
you really have to kind of tailor it for that particular homeowner.
That's true. So I mean, you could pick any three services, and for $500 every quarter, you could have these three services, or biannually or something. Ooh, there you go. That's a $1 million idea right there. It's
yeah. I mean,
I've never thought of that.
You'd have to have probably services that are not always in the home either, though. But maybe you have like mattress cleaning as a service, carpet cleaning, LVT cleaning, tile and grout cleaning. But you're only going to clean the dryer vents. You're not going to clean those every quarter or even every year. That's right. That's further out. But if you had maybe a couple,
no, I think dryer vents could be done every year to 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know what the recommendation is. I don't. But I also meant like
duct cleaning is a little bit longer too.
That's what I meant.
4 years,
right?
But the
dryer vent that may be more frequently. I don't know, but if you offer gutter cleaning, I'm not saying you do, but if a company were to do that, if you were to offer,
I mean that changes. I mean, one of the reasons we haven't gotten into more of exterior cleaning, I know that some individuals do, is because your whole insurance structure changes, right? Once you got people up on ladders, that changes. So with window cleaning, exterior cleaning, gutter cleaning, you're up on ladders. And for someone like me, where I have technicians, like we've been even debated whether we want to put technicians on ladders for dryer vent cleaning when you've got a dryer vent that's going out of the roof. We've looked at alternatives of how do we clean out a dryer vent that feeds through the roof without getting up on a ladder. So that's you just got to look at what kind of risks you're willing to take and how. But at the same time, I don't want to be a master of all, or like what do they call it?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, that's. I would focus more on a niche, and then a lot of times what you can do is you can offer more services, and then you can hone in on which services you find to be more profitable for you. So my wife and I, my business partner, had this discussion today in terms of what services do we want to increase revenue on, and what services do we just want to cut? As far as is it worth keeping those, or do we want to market those a little harder and see if we can really blow that up? So that's something you got to make a list of services that you can offer, and then maybe pick a top 5 of what out of that list, and then you find out which services are the most profitable for you, and go from there, and really which ones you enjoy doing the most and or the most profitable. So, because honestly, we're all in business. The focus of our business should always be profit, right? Don't charge what other people charge.
Yep, absolutely.
Am I on number 3 or 4, or what number am I on for tips?
You're on. We're still talking about number 2. Let's say one last thing on number 2 is actually no. Well, yeah, sort of. Yeah, number 2 is basically. You want to decide if you want to be an interior home pro or an exterior home pro.
Yeah.
There's very few that do both, right? You're usually doing work outside the home, window washing, pressure washing.
If I did
Christmas
exterior
lights.
cleaning, I would probably rebrand. I would do, house washing, soft washing,
gutter cleaning,
Christmas
lights,
cleaning, Christmas lights. Yeah, that's what I would.
A lot of carpet cleaners are doing Christmas lights, so that's another subject. That's a pretty profitable one. But anyway,
that's ladders. That's
right. No. I get it. So yeah, I think being either an interior home pro or an exterior home pro is something that to be considered. But number 3, go for it.
So what was number 1 and what was number 2?
Number 1 was you want to label yourself or market yourself as a home pro or a service pro.
Service pro, okay.
Number 2 was residual income.
Yeah, residual income. Diversify your offerings and have a residual income. Okay. Let's see. Number 3, I think. What was I starting on? Geez, David, you got to keep me straight. This is a hard question when you're like, pick 5, and I'm like, now I lost my train of thought.
I thought you were going to talk about data management or organization, CRM.
Yeah. So have a CRM. If you can't remember all this in your head, and as far as getting, you can only go so far with free software like Google Calendar and Google Docs and Google Drive or whatever. Like, you should have a CRM to help manage this. Whether that's Jobber, Service Monster, House Call Pro, Markate.
Why don't you quickly define what a CRM is for?
Customer retention. What's the M stand for? I'll just Google it really quick. It holds your customer database and your schedule, and it also holds like what you're charging for your services.
I believe the M is manager, by the way.
Management. Okay. Customer retention management. Okay. So basically it's like a Rolodex, except it's for your clients, and it's all kept in this database. So this is how you should be marketing and following up with these people and dripping on them, nurturing them, as opposed to let me have a Google Doc with a Excel spreadsheet or whatever, and with your whole list. It's just much harder to manage that way. And these CRMs a lot of times have these systems or features built into them where it's much easier to market and nurture your client database, as well as keep valuable information and notes, before and after photos. So we may be working with 3 or 4 different CRMs. CRM is kind of a very broad definition, but we also have multiple ones that integrate with each other and have certain features and benefits that maybe one by itself doesn't offer. So we kind of add on to that, and they all communicate with each other and provide
Yeah,
our.
because many will send reminders.
Yep.
They do outreach to customers for reviews, and others don't. So
Yep.
yeah, you're right. There's some that are far more robust than others, or better at some things than others. And I think
Right.
that's a conversation, a topic we see a lot. Um, I think it's good that people really try all the different CRMs and decide what works best for them before they
I
deploy.
don't know how. I mean, I came in when CRMs were becoming a thing, and obviously with the franchise, they provided a CRM. So I started with Service Monster, and then I kept Service Monster when I transitioned. I tried House Call Pro for a couple months, and we felt like that wasn't as data rich, and a large amount of the value in a CRM is the data that it provides, the reports it provides, your your income, the how much you're making in one particular service. What we were talking before in terms of how profitable you are, right? What your average invoices are, things of that nature. That data was much more in depth, at least we found with Service Monster than House Call Pro, and that's why we went back with that. But I know that before that, guys were had paper invoices. In fact, I saw someone when I went and did training for air duct cleaning. They were still writing up paper invoices, and I'm like, really? Like, why would I don't get that. Why don't you just use a CRM for that? Like, you lose paperwork. You got stacks of paper. It's harder to organize. Like, it's easy if it's all in the computer, and you can just type in, a certain client or a certain service, and it pops up automatically. So that's kind of like somebody using a. I don't even know if anybody like watching this or listening to this knows what I'm referring to, but those old telephones where you spin and you dial them, or you even type in the physical numbers. Whereas nowadays we have smartphones where there are no real buttons. It's all digital, as opposed to analog, I guess is
Yeah, like a rotary dial.
a rotary dial. See,
Yeah.
even I didn't know the difference, but between an MP3 and a cassette tape,
Yeah, exactly.
To date myself, I was around during the cassette tapes and whatnot. The 8-track, or what do they call them? 8-tracks, right? Before cassette
8-tracks were, that was like a late
that
70s.
predates me. That's but I know what they are. Or vinyls, right? But vinyls have seen a resurgence too. So like,
yeah, people still buy records.
don't get me wrong. Like, in my business, even though we have a CRM, we also have what's called production sheets that our technicians fill out, and basically those are disclaimer forms where they go over pre-existing conditions, measurements, have people sign off on the work that they're doing, and on the back, the technician is filling out what chemical they use, what they cleaned, how long it took them, so that we know how profitable we are on that job.
Basically a log.
It is, yeah, and so we have a paperwork for that, because we haven't found that there's a CRM at least that we're using, that logs that our technicians can type that in. So if any CRMs are listening, CRM software providers are listening, they should really, provide those kind of features. But that would be hugely beneficial. But so let's move on to number 4. So have a good CRM. Number 3. Number 4 would be get educated. Like, never stop your education. Don't ever reach a point where you're like, you know what? I know all I need to know, and I'm the best there is out there. Like, there's always going to be somebody that comes along that's better than you, unless you keep pushing yourself, training yourself, and or become the trainer that trains other people. So like me, for example, like if I'm not going out and learning more myself, then I'm trying to go out there and coach and or train or teach people what I've learned, so that I can stay sharp. So sharpen your saw, whether that's reading good books. That really, honestly, that could be a number 5. right? If that read books, constantly educate yourself. But we'll stick with number 4. And as far as continue your education, whether that's reading books, whether that's taking technical training skills, leadership classes, marketing classes, or
attending a Capalooza.
Yeah, absolutely. Attend a Capalooza. There is no one like I know guys, instructors that are been in the industry for 30, 40 years and they're still learning or trying to learn themselves. So always be open to new ideas. And with that, number 5 is presentation.
We're in the appearance business.
We are in the appearance business. So shave or be clean cut. I don't care if you have a beard or whatnot. I mean, I'll give you what I tell my technicians, right? You wear, professional polo, or if you even want to go a step above that, you get a button-up shirt. You can have your brand embroidered in there. You can have, if you get IICRC certifications, you can have badges put on, or make your own badges or certifications, whatever gives the aesthetic of you are a professional. I don't care if you model yourself after a plumber, there are plumbers that will wear white shirts, button up white shirts, with badges, with embroidery. And obviously most people's stereotypical plumber is, plumber's crack, right? Wearing booties. We have embroidered, branded booties, reusable booties, not just the disposable ones. I think that is a more professional image than, and creates less waste than disposable booties. Providing whatever added value, soft skills. So not only are we working on ourselves appearance wise with where we're not wearing, like my guys, you do not wear blue jeans. My guys do not wear blue jeans. They're wearing slacks, black, khaki, brown. They're not wearing blue jeans. They can wear blue slacks. I don't care. But it's a professional image. They're not wearing t-shirts. They're wearing polos. We may upgrade to or have give them one formal shirt with all of their training badges as kind of like a badge of honor, almost like Boy Scout, right? Where the client can see how many certifications they've earned. That just adds value. And then we have name badges, right? So this name badge we get a third party that background checks our technicians, that shows that we're licensed, that we have, we are insured, and that we have a criminal background check. So people this goes along with my company so that people feel safe with us in their home. Not only are we using safe cleaners, but we want technicians that people feel safe with or safe around, right? And they just came out with this. The seal is this third party certification or third party I don't know, business, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, service. On the back of it, they have a QR code too, where my technicians can have the client scan this and leave them a review, and it will pop up a review for those people to leave, which is nice as well. But name badges, I feel.
What is the third party company? Is that the Bulldog? I think I've seen.
No, the Seal, the Seal.com. The Seal.com.
The Seal, that's what I meant. Yeah. The Seal.
The Seal.com.
You pay them a fee, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have it's like a monthly subscription type service.
That's awesome. No, that's good. And you get a seal on your website as well, correct? I would assume.
I believe so, yeah. So you get a certification badge or whatever.
Is it on your site now?
Should be. Yeah, it should be down.
That's something I would definitely highlight. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to run down this list really quick. Make sure you refer to yourself as a home provider or service professional. Number 2, look for regular income streams. as you call it, subscription service. Number 3, have a good CRM, manage your data. Number 4, always work on improving yourself through education. Number 5, remember that we're in the appearance business.
Yep.
I think that's a great list. One thing I would add to it, or somehow squeeze in there somewhere, would be always be marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
So if there's like a 5A, we could put in there, 5B.
Well, I think we discussed it earlier.
Yeah.
As far as you should remind yourself that I need to become a marketing company that happens to clean XYZ. If you want to be a cleaning company, whether that's carpet, hard surface, whatever, you need to become a marketing company.
If you look at the big essential, as I always call them, essential service companies, the HVAC, the plumbing, the roofing, I mean, they are marketing machines.
Yep.
Absolute monsters.
And that comes along with the appearance. Honestly, I think if we're in the your appearance is your marketing, right? If you have a dirty van, people notice. You don't think they do, but they do. Your clients will look.
They just don't say anything. Right.
They don't say anything. If you don't wash your vans, if you don't wear deodorant, you smell, or if you have like a overpowering cologne, that can be offensive too, or you smell like smoke, or if your hair's unkept, or if you're unshaven or whatever, like that is all marketing. That's all part of your brand. You just, whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously, like it will convey to the customer or client what your value is and how that correlates. So if you want to start charging higher prices, then you need to up your game for sure. In marketing and in appearance, your appearance is part of your marketing, to be completely honest with you.
And we'll be talking about some of this in Capalooza, especially I think on the commercial panel. I would assume with Eric Sprague and also with Tommy Mello.
Absolutely, yeah. No,
Tommy Mello is real big on those points. So.
Right. No. With Eric Sprague, again on the appearances, like not only do we focus on technical skills for our technicians, but we focus highly on soft skills. So you have to have the technical skills, obviously, because people pay you for the work, but they also will pay you a higher value if you have the communication skills, that you can carry on a conversation, you can build rapport with the client, you can follow up and make sure that you've checked all your boxes. Because if you don't know how to communicate with somebody, if you're socially awkward, like that can leave a bad impression, and they may not call you back for that. Maybe you still did the job well, but they'll pay somebody else to be able to better communicate with them and or fulfill their needs. Some people literally will call us for our services. I don't care what home service company you are, just so that they have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Truthfully enough, like they do need the services, but it's also another excuse for them that for an elderly client, it's also an excuse for them to get to talk to somebody. So like many times I'll go out for an estimate or even a job, and the person is just talking to me. And I can get a sense of whether or not they have a whole lot of people that they interact with in their life. And I'm like, look, that's part of what they're paying me for. To an extent, like I can draw the line somewhere, but somebody will talk and visit with me because that's their social interaction. Otherwise, what else? They don't always get that from many other people. And so that's...
No, I think that's important to keep in mind as a service provider, especially a home service provider, that, customer service is a critical component of it, more so than the service itself in many cases.
Yes, absolutely. I will say this, and I don't say that I don't base my business off of it, but you can provide a mediocre service or cleaning, and but you provide exceptional or phenomenal customer service, the client will never notice. They will and they'll call you back, and they'll call you back again and again because you provided them exceptional customer service, because that's in short supply, more so than being able to provide the trade skill in the first place. But I'm not encouraging anybody to do mediocre work, but I'm just saying many times we do not focus enough on customer service. We focus more on the technical skills. And I'm like, you need to have a balance. You need to have a balance between the two.
I had many jobs, especially in my first year, where I was like, this could have come out. Yeah, when you're cleaning carpet, it's hard because you're dealing with soft surfaces, right? So you don't always necessarily get it 100% clean. It's literally impossible, especially if there's
it's clean.
Issues.
It's clean.
Right, the wear issues.
Yeah.
Right.
Or damaged.
Exactly. And I'm like, wow, I wish I could have done better. I tried everything. And they still call you back. Or they still refer you because they like you. They're hiring you. They're not hiring the method. They're not hiring a truck mount. They're not hiring an OP machine.
Yep. This is why I encourage my technicians, and I will give them bonuses when they get Google reviews from clients, and the clients mention them by name. I'm like, if they can remember your name, then you've done an exceptional job, and they will continue to call us back, and many times ask for that technician. So
Tommy Mello talks about personalizing the experience as much as possible.
Yep. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of
talk about your family.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Look for commonality.
Yep.
And really, build a bridge.
Yep. That's a whole nother rabbit hole we could go down, Damon. But
I agree. we got the top 5. I appreciate it.
Yep.
And that's
Anything
a great
else?
list.
Any other questions? No, that's it. Okay, perfect. Well, in that case, then I will see everybody in Capaloosa. Hope you all come. And if you'd like to know more about VLM, very low moisture, and all of the wonderful things the wonderful world that it can open you to, and what it can provide you, not only more profit, but if you'd like to know more about that, then you can attend the course that I will be teaching with some participation from Damon as well. And other than that, I'll look forward to seeing you and there in Capaloosa.
Erik, thank you for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Damon.
Like I said earlier, you gave a lot of great feedback. We'll see it in Capaloosa.
Okay.
Just so everybody knows, Erik will be presenting at Capaloosa. He'll be doing some low moisture hands-on training. Perhaps that's something we'll talk about in another episode. He's also going to be talking about niche services and how he's grown a successful or very steady revenue stream with stretching and repair. So learn more at www.incapalooza.events. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and we'll see everybody next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. Goodbye.
See ya.